Hello and happy Thursday to all of you. The question I want to address today is this. Why did the apostles insist that Jesus bodily rose from the dead? Many ancient cultures, including Greeks and Egyptians, among others, had stories and myths that talk about the need of a metaphorical death and resurrection to happen in a culture or in the individual. In their myths and writings, they captured the idea that man is not perfect and that in order to grow and adapt, the ineffectual and ignorant parts of us need to die off so that we might be born again and tackle the challenges that are present and that lie ahead. Many non-Christian philosophers and psychologists today would acknowledge the same, that no individual human knows all that there is to know. We need to continually reassess our beliefs, assumptions, and patterns of behavior and thought and weigh them against new information and reality in order to update ourselves and adapt to an ever-changing world. The scientific method does this very well. When a scientist has a hunch about a natural phenomenon, he or she makes a hypothesis and then runs tests and experiments to falsify or verify it, based on the evidence. If it is validated or verified, then it becomes a theory. That theory stands only if it continues to stand up to the evidence. If it doesn't, the process starts over again until a new theory emerges. The Apostle Paul, no doubt, was well versed in these ancient myths and stories. It would have been easy for him and the other apostles to say that Jesus, who embodied so many true things, which were at odds with the powers that be, was crucified, for sure, but his ideas live on forever, reminding us to continually put to death the old self and put on the new self on our quest for truth and goodness. However, that's not what St. Paul and the other apostles did or said, and not what happened. They were not unreasonable, superstitious people. The way the New Testament is written is that Jesus' physical resurrection was completely unexpected. The apostles were shocked at the news. They were even more shocked when Jesus appeared to them in the flesh and ate and drank with them. You see, the New Testament doesn't read like one of these ancient myths that were known at the time. Any scholar can tell you that. The apostles ardently defended the fact that Jesus physically rose from the dead. And this is the good news. Why? It changes everything. Yes, Jesus stood up for truth, waded into the mess of human suffering, was betrayed and abandoned by his closest friends, and was crucified by the religious leaders and by Caesar, which is a familiar story. But here is the good news, or the euangelion. God raised him from the dead. Not only that, but Jesus came to his disciples, not seeking revenge, but to give them peace and forgiveness. See, God's love triumphed over evil in Jesus' resurrection. And this is what the establishment was really upset about, this preaching of the resurrection. Because if it were true, if Jesus was indeed the Son of God and the Lord of all, was crucified and rose again, it changes everything. God's love triumphs over evil. It is proof that everyone, even Caesar, is subject to his rule and is accountable to him. So much of the devastation that has been wrought in the world is because mere mortals have rebelled against this reality and have set themselves up as gods. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche in the 19th century saw this coming in Western society. He thought if God is dethroned in the minds of people, well, then people are left to make up their own value system. On their own. They have to decide what is good and what is a noble pursuit. And he predicted, as these compete for each other, much of the atrocities that happened at the hand of totalitarian regimes in the 20th century. He predicted that. And these systems of government were called totalitarian because they assumed power over not just the physical reality, but all of reality, metaphysical reality, where God exists. Or in other words, they were atheistic, all-powerful, and all-knowing. Well, I'm here today to tell you that Jesus did rise from the dead, and this indeed does change everything. No matter what happens, even if the powers of darkness try to kill the truth, God's love will triumph. Thank you for listening, and may God bless your day.